Hey, welcome back. Today, before we talk about the topic of this video, I wanted to share why I created this space to talk with you guys. The motive was simple. Today, we live in an information age. Any given information that you need is just a click away from you. We are constantly overloaded with tons of unprocessed information that we probably don't even use in our daily life. And this is why I feel the need of creating this space to process a few information and utilize them for real in our life. A space to find the practical use of all the information that we receive in day-to-day basis and try to simplify it and conceptualize it. A space where we can draw a pattern of all the information that we are exposed to and try to use them according to our need. And finally, this is the space where we would try to absorb the theory and apply it in our life for real. Now, let's start our topic of the video today. I know you already have checked the title of this video, but even before mentioning that, I want to share a scenario. I know you are going to relate with this scenario. Let me tell you first. Did it ever happen to you that you met with a stranger or a friend, you had a great conversation, and you really felt it that it was a nice conversation with an agreeable tone, with all the smiles, sometimes laugh, and all the nods. And then we parted the ways. You went back to your home. After that conversation, from few hours to days, you start revisiting the same conversation in your mind again and again. Try to think about all the topics that you have covered, what you could have answered in a better way. Sometimes you went out of the topic maybe, and you try to make the same conversation, and this time not a real one, in your mind, where you play the both of the roles, yours and your friends as well. And then you start self-questioning yourself that you should have said that thing maybe in a different way. Maybe you should have avoided that joke. This kind of things. This way you revisit same conversation that only happened once, but in your mind thousands of times. And at the end, you reach to a conclusion that the other person might have thought you were just a dummy and you don't know how to converse. Maybe the other person doesn't like you. This is what human psychology does, according to a report. A study published by the Journal of Psychological Science calls this human tendency liking gap. It signifies that maybe the other person likes you more than you think that they do. I know it sounds a bit complicated, but it's true that we always try to underestimate when it comes to the point after a conversation that we always wonder that the other person liked you or not. And this is very different from other skills that we try to overestimate in other fields, like your drinking capacity or driving ability. Human brains tend to overestimate themselves, whereas in this particular moment, human brains tend to underestimate. Talking to someone who is stranger, and sometimes even someone you know, can be daunting. But think, exactly this is the way you turn a stranger to your friends. You turn your interview opportunity to a job opportunity. And also from a simple coffee date to make that person your better half. Now let's understand, why does this happen to all of us? The first thing that study shows, which is very simple, that we cannot ask right after the conversation that the other person liked us or not. So we always left us wondering and guessing that if that conversation was good or not. And consequently, we are revisiting self-questioning again and again, having a monologue with ourselves, evaluating the conversation many times, which is ending up in a very negative self-critical conclusion. The second reason that this study talked about is while being in conversation, we are so much busy to prepare our replies for the other person's next sentence that we tend to forget to pick up the small gestures from the other person, which confirms that if they like the conversation or they like us or not. So this also makes us wonder later on that what happened about that conversation, was it really good or not? So now let's talk about solutions. In a subsequent paper which was published in April 2021, the author Gus Cooney tried to make a solution for this problem. In this latest paper, the same research was carried out amongst the kids, and there they found no liking gap exists. And this is exactly the solution for the liking gap of the adults. When we were kids, we really didn't care about our reputations, right? We still managed to get a chocolate even from a stranger. And this is exactly what the solution of this problem. The less care you do about your reputation, rather you focus on a productive and informative conversation which is mindful enough, that is enough to decrease the sense of liking gap you can get after every conversation that you have, either with a stranger or with a friend. And if you see our present situation when a pandemic is going on, that we stopped seeing people like the way we used to do. And many people also find the conversations on call or virtual meetings are not as meaningful or as interpersonal as when you meet in person. Here there is always a forecast that a liking gap could increase by this study. However, a thing to notice here that after a while, if you continuously feel stupid or uncomfortable after having a conversation with a group or with a certain person, you should be intuitive enough that the person or that group is not worthwhile to pursue. On the other hand, when you are with a person or in a group feeling more confident and also having a feel-good feeling, it is also a scientific demonstration to you that this is the feeling that you should persist on, and this feeling consequently shrink the liking gap, and you will no longer feel the need for the second guess for every comment that you made during that conversation. It should be so natural, so spontaneous. This is how it should be, isn't it? Let me know if you have liked this concept and you can relate with the things that this study says and I tried to simplify for you. Let me know your thoughts, and most importantly, thanks again for being here today.